Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill news. Well, you guys, if you ask me, I'd say it's happening, but we are just laymen here watching as the chips fall down, getting the crumbs, picking them up, laying them out, and trying to sort it. But what do I know? All I see is that a bunch of stuff is taking place, and it is very, very exciting. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. We're going to go through some of the news that has happened over the last couple of days. First of all, Adam Schiff has announced that one of his staffers, now a former staffer, has tested positive for CV-19. Also, Andrew Gillum has agreed to enter rehab after the gentleman caller incident where Andrew was found nearly unconscious and a man had overdosed. Looks like Joe Biden did not fare too well in the Democratic debate over the weekend, but something tells me they are still going to push him up to the top. We also have some information about the average age of people passing in Italy from CV-19 and some information about why it might be such a dense cluster there. Also, Marilyn Hewson, she was the CEO of Lockheed Martin. She has resigned, and that adds up to something like over 200 resignations of CEOs in 2020. And we're going to take a look at the list of sealed indictments and see how much it's grown since the last time we took a look here. All right, guys, please do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. In 6 months' time, or a year, or however long it takes to sort out the stock market and the situation with the Wu flu, where will you be? Financially, are you going to be in the same place? Are you going to be worse off, or are you going to be better off? If you're losing money in the stock market right now, and your retirement fund is taking a hammering, you need to do something different, quickly. You don't have to be a victim of the markets. By using some precious metals to back up your investments, you can give yourself a safety net to protect you and your family from financial disaster. You can put these into your IRA or 401k rollover and get a tax break on them to boost your returns even further. Noble Gold has helped hundreds of clients do this, and their reviews on consumer sites show just how happy folks are with the results. And you can join them. Talk to a Noble Gold specialist today. You can reach them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, or hit the link below and see how they can help you. Tell them Red Pill 78 sent you. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we have this tweet from Enoch. Yesterday, the president put out this little graphic, an infographic, telling people kind of what to do and how to act during this whole crisis. And Enoch noticed that the O turns into a Q at 21 seconds in, and then a shield with a plus. What does that equal? Q plus. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look, because there's some other things to catch in here as well. All right, so we're going to listen to this without the music, but it says, do your part to help stop the spread, practice good hygiene. There is a plus right there and another plus. And at 21 seconds in, we're going to be looking for the O to turn into a Q. It is pretty stunning to see it happen. All right, so as you can see, these letters are all changing right here. All right, and there you have it right here, the O turning into a Q. Could have turned into any letter, but it turns into a Q. And of course, with the fact that the president is putting this out, I definitely do believe that this is a message directly to Anons. All right, and then there is the plus right there, yet again, on the shield. Now, let's continue, because there is another little message that could be in the end here. All right, so right at the end, it says, we're all in this together, or we're all in this to get her. Now, right here is together. This is after the letters have fallen, but if you'll notice, as the letters begin to fall, first, the T's are upside down as F's, so it says FF. Now, again, it could be any other letters that began this fall, but it begins with the T's, which are lifted upside down as F's. All right, and there it is right there, FF. We're all in this, FF, and then it continues together, which is also to get her. All right, so what do you guys think? I thought that was a neat little proof. The president posting this video, have it say a Q and a plus and then the FF. We know what that means, so I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Now, if we take it back here to December 12th of 2018, we have this post, which says Q0 equals Q plus. There was also this post from December 12th, which says O made into a Q. And yet again, it has happened. An O turns into a Q, and it was posted by the president. Here is another look at a still from that video with the O turning into a Q. And here you can see that the Q appears all on its own. Here is a side-by-side comparison as that Q begins to appear. It's all on its own right there on the screen. Why would the Q be the only letter on the screen after the O turned into a Q? I just can't see anything other than this is a direct message from the president yet again. All right, now an account on Twitter called DJ Destruct has taken this, zoomed in, and then slowed it down so that we can see as the O turns into a Q, then the Q is left alone on the screen, and you can see it play out. And it looks like we have another big Hollywood name who has tested positive. Idris Elba trending right now on Twitter because he has tested positive for CV-19. All right, now next, continuing the trend of apparently only celebrities and people of power and importance coming into contact with CV-19, we have a tweet from Adam Schiff. He says, "I was informed that a former staffer who left our office 10 days ago has tested positive. Although doctors believe the staffer contracted the virus after leaving my office, I'm taking additional distancing precautions, including postponing meetings and teleworking." Now, again, it's strange that this has happened because this is going to put potentially Adam Schiff in direct contact of contracting this CV-19. And it seems that most people, 97 to or 98% of people, only develop symptoms after a 10-day period, something like 2 weeks. Also, with the reports that we've heard of people finding it difficult to get tested, why was it that this staffer was able to get a test so quickly to confirm it? But I think this is definitely something we should watch. Is Adam Schiff going to be another person that comes down with CV-19 and then has to be removed from the equation? As of right now, Adam Schiff is teleworking. He is self-quarantining. So definitely we're going to be keeping an eye on this one. Now, in a strange story coming out of Las Vegas from KTNV, a man in a hazmat suit entered a Walmart and began spraying a clear liquid on products. Now, he was tracked by people as he left the Walmart. They got his license plate, and apparently he has been taken into custody. But this is definitely a weird one, and it could just be some nutter wearing a hazmat suit. They are available to purchase, or it could be something more serious. It could be an operation, could be an FF. We're going to have to keep an eye out. But as of right now, the police have not released any information about who he is or what that substance may or may not have been. But if there's anybody in the Las Vegas area that has any information about this, please do send me an email, redpill78@protonmail.com. I would like to follow up as we are able to get that information. All right, and next, I'm sure everyone is aware that over the weekend, former gubernatorial candidate in Florida, Andrew Gillum, was found to be severely inebriated inside a hotel room, which looked like it could have been some type of ORGY. There was a man in the room who is a known escort, and there were several packages of crystal methamphetamine laying around on the bed and on the floor. Well, Gillum has said, "This has been a wake-up call for me. Ever since my governor's race ended, I fell into a depression that has led to alcohol abuse." So he is going to be putting himself into a rehabilitation facility. Now, not too shocking, considering that the body cam footage of what was going on in that hotel room is about to be released. You can bet we're going to be seeing that here on this channel. This is definitely something that we've seen in the past when Democrats or even Republicans are caught red-handed in a weird situation like this. They go and they enter rehab so that they can kind of retreat from public life, and then they hope that people are just going to forget. But I tend to think that in this instance, we're not going to allow Andrew Gillum to forget what happened that night. And as soon as we get the body cam footage, we'll be taking a look here. So, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders held a Democratic debate over the weekend on Sunday night. Didn't get a chance to watch it, but I certainly have seen some highlights. And it didn't take long for Joe to get back to his good old self. He was stumbling over his words. He was getting tongue-tied. He couldn't remember the correct name to call things. And he said in response to the H1N1, he called it N1H1. So let's go ahead and take a look at the clip because Joe Biden had a little bit of trouble putting everything together.
We're in a situation where we have to now be providing for the hospitals that are going to be needed now. The present system cannot handle the surge that is likely to come. So we should already be sitting down and planning where we're going to put these temporary hospitals. And we can do that. We did that. We've been through this before with the coronavirus. We've been through this before. We've been through this before with dealing with the viruses that the N1H1 as well as what happened in Africa. We provided these hospitals dealing with these great pandemics, and we were able to do it quickly, and people would have a place to go. But we also have to provide the equipment to protect the first responders, and that's not being done either.
The N1H15, that is a new one. And that thing in Africa, is he talking about Ebola? I don't know. I don't know that Joe knows what he's saying. It seems like at this point, if I was working for the Democrats, I would be giving Joe an in-ear monitor so that people could just feed him the lines that he needs, because it's clear that he has absolutely no idea what's going on. Now, there was also another low blow to Bernie Sanders in this debate. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now, I'm sure you'll remember in that past Democratic debate when CNN had that rigged question asking Bernie if he had said to Elizabeth Warren that a woman couldn't win the presidency. He said no, and then they turned to Elizabeth Warren and asked her how she felt when Bernie Sanders said that a woman couldn't win the presidency. Now, in this debate, they ask Bernie Sanders about his heart condition, but they completely forget to ask Joe Biden about his brain aneurysm and the clear signs of dementia that he's been showing out on the campaign trail. Now, this was held without a live audience, so it was not quite as peppy as it might normally be, although the crowds that show up for these Democratic things are really not all that peppy to begin with, and there's not so many people that are actually in attendance. But during the course of the debate, CNN asked 78-year-old Bernie about his recent heart attack, and then completely skipped over 77-year-old Biden's previous brain aneurysms and increasing dementia as he continues on this campaign trail. Let's go ahead and take a look at this rigged question from CNN.
I want to ask about something that's going on right now. Again, back to this crisis. We know that people over the age of 60 and those with underlying medical conditions, especially heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, are the most vulnerable to coronavirus and are being asked to change their behavior to protect themselves. So, Senator Sanders, I'll start with you. You're 78 years old. You had a heart attack. What are you doing to protect yourself?
Well, a great deal.
Vice President Biden, you're 77. What are you doing to protect yourself?
Well, fortunately, I don't have any of the underlying conditions you talked about.
Completely glossing over the fact that he has actually had brain aneurysms. The fact that he cannot remember his name or the identity of his wife or sister. So many problems that Joe has, and the mainstream media just completely glosses over all of it. It's so transparent. The only thing that they have in mind is to help Joe Biden win the Democratic nomination for president. But they're fooling themselves, because even if he does get that nomination, even if he does go up against President Trump, he has a single-digit percentage point chance of actually winning the election. Because although the mainstream media wants to keep ignoring it, the people of America can clearly see that Joe Biden has something wrong. Joe Biden probably was the weakest candidate in terms of health that they could have chosen to put up on a national stage, but he's also the best they've got. His campaign slogan should be Joe Biden. At least I showed up. All right, and as this crisis continues every day, it looks like Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau has announced that they are locking down the country. They're only going to permit Canadians or permanent residents of Canada and, I guess, U.S. citizens to enter the country. But here's the announcement from Justin Trudeau.
We will be denying entry to Canada to people who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents. This measure will carve out some designated exceptions, including for air crews, diplomats, immediate family members of Canadian citizens, and, at this time, U.S. citizens.
All right, so not entirely surprising, given the way that everything's been going. And I do think it's a good idea. I think that it's only a matter of time before President Trump and the administration does the same thing here. Now, let's go take a look at Italy, one of the countries hit hardest by this crisis. All right, and the information coming out of Italy is that the average age of people who have passed away as a result of this is 81. The Italian government released its numbers on the CV-19 last week. There's 1,809 new cases. That was reported on Sunday. And here are the percentages of people who've passed away. 90 years and up, 6%. 80 to 89, 42%. 70 to 79, 35%. And 60 to 69, 16%. I think that's interesting that they don't give us a percentage of people who have passed away under the age of 60. I think that says something that I've been saying on the channel for a while, is that obviously this is only hitting people of certain age brackets, and younger people with strong and healthy immune systems just are not suffering the same types of effects. So now, 99%, that's 99% of the people in Italy who have passed away are 60 years and older. Now, these are pretty stunning numbers when you take a look at it. It's only 0.2% of deaths in those 10 to 39 years old. Now, I don't know the youngest age of anyone who's passed as a result of this. I think 10 to 39 is just the general bracket that they're using. But again, it just clearly shows that this is hitting people who are of advanced age with a compromised immune system. Now, why has Italy been hit so hard as a result of this crisis? Well, it looks like Italy holds the largest Chinese diaspora community in the EU today, and now they have the largest outbreak of CV-19 in Europe. And clearly, we know that this originated in China. Now, the number of Chinese people in Italy has grown rapidly over the last decade, and statistics indicate there are at least 320,794 Chinese citizens there. Now, CV-19 was originally detected in Padua back on February 21st, and Padua is a small community where thousands of Chinese people go for work. There's about 50,000 Chinese people employed in Prato alone, which is Italy's textile capital near Florence. Now, they've suspended all flights to and from China. That was on January 31st after the 2 Chinese tourists tested positive, but it was too late because the numbers just grew rapidly. Now, today there are a recorded 24,747 cases of CV-19 with the 1,809 deaths. They're basically ground zero in Europe. I think the statistics here in Italy are fairly telling after everything that we've learned from the very beginning about where this originated. So over the weekend, we had Bill Gates stepping down from Microsoft in the midst of this global pandemic. Seems kind of strange, but he's not alone, because today we've had Marilyn Hewson stepping down as the CEO of Lockheed Martin, a major U.S. defense contractor. She is 66, and she's been in the position since 2014. And she says, "I know it's the right time to transition the leadership of Lockheed. The corporation is strong, as evidenced by our outstanding financial results last year and a record backlog of business." Now, on its own, this would be no big deal, but as I said in the intro, there's something like over 200 resignations of CEOs that have taken place since the beginning of the year. So let's go ahead and jump over to resignation.info. Now, since tracking began back in 2017, we've had 12,242 resignations, and that is at 8,845 organizations over a total of 166 countries. Now, if you go to resignation.info, you can see all of these resignations. There are too many to go over individually, but in many cases, there is also a reason given for the resignation, and then it tells you some more information about that person. So this is a great place to go if you want to do some research on who these people are and maybe why they could have stepped down. Now, since we're at resignation.info, I wanted to take you to the tracking map of the sealed indictments. We've had a total of 157,694, with 18,556 being unsealed. That's a total of 139,138 that are still unsealed. And you can even go over here and see the top total cases by state, with Texas, California, Arizona, and New Mexico being in the top 4, and New York rounding out the top 5. I thought that this is pretty interesting down along the southern border. Obviously, California being a major Dem stronghold, and then, of course, New York as well. So these two major port areas, places where we know that a lot of nefarious activity takes place, much criminal activity, especially being down here along that southern border on Mexico, that these are the top areas where we see the largest number of indictments taking place. Florida is also looks like a big state. Pennsylvania is number 6, Florida's number 7, Ohio is number 8, and then Virginia and North Carolina round out the top 10. Now, my friend White Hat, Sombrero Blanco on Twitter, noticed a couple of flags that were posted. First, we had one by Eric Trump, and then there was another that was posted by Dan Scavino. Now, we've seen flags used as markers on the board in the past, so I just thought that this was very interesting, considering the proximity of these gentlemen to the president. Obviously, Dan Scavino's possible place in this operation. And then there is a third flag posted by Dan Scavino. He's got two different accounts. He's got @Scavino45 and then @Dan Scavino. I believe one of them is his personal account, and the other one would be for his employment. Two different flags from Dan Scavino, one flag from Eric Trump, all within a very, very close and tight time span. Now, Sombrero Blanco also noticed from our friend Hive here on Twitter, he says that people in the UK are seeing their credit scores increase while bank accounts are wiped along with no debt. This was sent by an anon. You can see some messages here. A debt was wiped. I saw people saying that their student loans have been zeroed out. I can't verify any of that. My student loans have not been zeroed out, but maybe I should check again today before I finish this video. All right, now on the topic of those sealed indictments, there's a reason I brought that up. My friend Josh here, Dirty Truth on Twitter, did a great job of clipping out some of the important parts from Sidney Powell's talk over the weekend, the one where she mentions the Anthony Weiner laptop. Now, someone asks her a question about the declination of prosecution on Andrew McCabe, and she says she hears there may be a couple of indictments waiting in the wings, sealed indictments, and she thinks that we're going to see them in the next couple of months. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Sidney Powell here.
With Attorney General Barr now in charge, would you comment on the decision to not prosecute Andrew McCabe?
Yes, the McCabe issue. I read the declination on McCabe. It's a very narrow issue. They've only declined to prosecute him on the statements about his leaks to the Wall Street Journal. I am okay with that because I think they are looking at McCabe with a much bigger fish to fry. And I have heard that there are 2 sealed indictments waiting in the wings. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. At first, I would have assumed that they were definitely waiting for the ridiculous impeachment issue to be over. But I'm not sure now what the answer to that might be, other than maybe some people are trying to make a deal. But I think we will see some indictments within the next few months of the people who really need to be indicted.
So Sidney Powell reflecting the opinion of myself and many of the other guests that I have here on this program. I said when they declined to prosecute against McCabe, it's because there were bigger issues at play. They wanted to go after him for what? Slam dunk charges, much bigger charges having to deal with perhaps treason and sedition, at the very least in attempting to run a coup to remove the President of the United States. So Sidney Powell has a great head on her shoulders. She is a very brilliant legal mind, and if you guys don't think that I know what I'm talking about, then perhaps at least you will believe what Sidney Powell has to say. Now, I thought that this one was also very telling. She says that there are still things that Hillary Clinton should be indicted for, and that Comey lied when he said nothing was on that laptop. Let's go ahead and listen to that.
Still be indicted for, and frankly, I think should, because the Espionage Act very clear violations of the Espionage Act, and really no issue about intent, despite President Obama proclaiming otherwise. And of course, you realize the reason that Hillary had to be protected was because he was writing her on that secret server using an alias, which shows that he damn well knew and had approved in advance her use of the secret unsecured server. On top of that, there's the Anthony Weiner laptop, which I don't know if you heard this. I wrote an article about that too. 675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop in a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary, and it included what Comey called the sorry, I must wave my hands more than most people. The golden emails, because they were the BlackBerry backup emails that they were supposedly just looking for everywhere very diligently. Well, guess what they did when they found them on the Weiner laptop? They got a search warrant for things that didn't include the BlackBerry backup emails. So when they told us, when he stood there and said that day, oh, you know, we've reviewed all the emails now, there's nothing there, that was a bald-faced lie. They specifically did not look at the BlackBerry backups, and they didn't look at a fraction of the emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop. So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop. In fact, I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up.
What have we heard on so many occasions? We have everything. I have thought for a long time that that phrase right there could specifically be pointing to that laptop, considering the fact that every single communication during her tenure as Secretary of State and as a candidate was contained on that laptop. And obviously, we know that Comey and his cohorts lied to us with regards to what was found on that laptop. We've heard many times that interview with Eric Prince and Breitbart talking about the content of the information contained on that laptop. And we know that there have been many unexplained suicides of New York City police officers ever since that laptop came to light. So here we are, Sidney Powell saying that there are still things that Hillary Clinton can be prosecuted for. If you think that President Trump is not aware of what's on that laptop and the White Hats don't have it and have already cataloged everything on it, I don't know what to do for you. Well, guys, there is so much activity taking place. Every day I'm getting reports from people all across the country. Happenings. And now we have the post from President Trump, which clearly shows the letter Q and the plus and the FFs. I do believe that this is direct communication. I believe the president is letting us know that everything is well in hand, the Patriots are in control, and we've got nothing to worry about. I know that the viewers of this program are prepared, and I know that all of us are going to make it through safe and sound. So please don't forget to stay comfy. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time. And it looks like we have another big Hollywood name who has tested positive. Idris Elba trending right now on Twitter because he has tested positive for CV-19.